Hey Eric, how you doing today? Interesting times.
Interesting times is right, Rob. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing well, or totally 100% isolated here at home, or just doing the socialized separation from everybody. We've been in this mode for a couple weeks. How about you guys? I see obviously you're in the office. I'm at home down in the basement. Aaron and I'm sitting straight across from me. Have offices set up. We're
Beautiful.
working from
Yeah.
home, but you're in the office. How are things going?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in the office. There's really no one here in the office. Pretty much all of our workforce is working from home. So, not that I can't work from home, but, I just prefer to be in my office and, it's quiet. So,
Certainly,
yeah.
yeah.
But,
Don't have to listen to that vicious dog of yours.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I
Yeah.
still got a scar from that dog.
See?
Still got
Damn
a
that
scar.
guy.
That's brutal.
He's feisty, isn't he, eh?
He is. But you
It's
see, this is the difference between you and me. You're at home, or no, sorry, you're at work. I'm at home.
Well, good point. Good point. This is
This is coffee
well,
all
I
day.
don't know what this is,
I hear you. Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
coffee.
You work for a government agency. I hear you, buddy. That's coffee all the way around. But anyway, so our Vegas divisional race, the Vegas Million,
Yeah, all on hold, isn't it?
all on
What a
hold for sure.
what a huge disappointment.
For the amount of times you and I mean, openly, I think we could say we've been hitting the practice tree. We've been hitting the practice tree since mid-November.
Right?
Uh, you and I have got over 3,500 hits on the tree since then. We document it. We hit it the same time every morning for a long time. Really, and we were going to share each other's car in Vegas Million.
Right.
This hurts. This for sure
Yeah.
hurts.
Yeah, that was very disappointing, to have something to look forward to all winter long, and then all of a sudden it just kind of ended within a week, but that's okay.
Yeah, it will
This is
come around.
gonna
I'm hoping
this is
for
gonna
fall.
end. Yeah,
Yeah, it will end for sure.
this will end.
What I've done in the shop is I've got half my motor apart. I want to go ahead and get some new pistons going on and stuff like that. So I'm like dipping into my next year maintenance work because I think we're going to be quiet
Yeah,
for a while.
yeah, yeah. No kidding. Well, what do you think? Roughly, what are you estimating
June
this
15th
thing will
is my
go
bet.
on? June 15th.
That's my bet.
Whoa. Yeah,
I don't think it's
probably
going to
right.
be any earlier than June 15th, but I'm standing. I've had that bet for a couple weeks here, and I think that's a solid bet.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So anyway, Eric, our last video, remember we asked people like we talked about Ryan O'Connor, got lots of great comments on that deal, and I did have somebody reach out to us about a new driver
Oh,
coming into racing here, and it was Jeff Coleman. You know that green
yeah,
23T Alter that
yeah,
pits right behind us, right?
yeah, Jeff. Yeah.
Um, yeah. So let me just share my screen here and what Jeff has, which I did not know, that Jeff had this 1968 Chevelle
Oh,
shown here in the
really?
picture. It's a stalker, or he bought it as a stalker, and so both his boys ran this car. They haven't touched it for 10 years, but prior to that, both his boys ran this car and did quite well with it. And I think Jeff ran it also,
Yeah.
but he was thinking of selling it. Well, his wife lost it on him and said, "Well, if you're going to sell it, forget it. I'll drive it."
Oh,
So I thought
really?
that is really interesting. Jeanette, his wife, said she will drive this car. I mean, she's been on the track only as a passenger in a race car. And so, which is a big deal, I think, for anybody, especially that later on in your life, to stand up and say, I'm going to drive it. That's pretty cool. Especially, lots of females today. I think there's a lot of girls driving race cars today,
Right.
professionals. And so they can definitely see they can do it as good as anybody else can do it for sure. But
Absolutely.
her goal is eventually she wants to run Cash is King. I think to probably run a pretty tame combination. They used to have a small block in it, but this car's kind of progressed into having a big block in it. Used to run it in Super Pro and Super Street. So he's got it stored in a trailer, and he's gonna take it out here. You can see that the last time they ran it, they for sure had to put a delay box in it. So it's definitely set up for a cash is king deal.
Yeah, nice.
So
That's very cool.
That's pretty cool to see somebody like that. But we also got a call from some other people about another female who plans on getting into racing with us, and they'll be dropping in our call here shortly.
Oh, perfect.
Eric, it looks like we got some people coming into our call here. Oh, look.
Yeah.
Got Trevor and Kelly Ritchie.
Hi.
So it's in the middle of the day on a Friday. Normally we do better, and I'm off this Friday, so you can see Eric's still at work. So I just gotta, before we get going, make sure we get the juices flowing.
That's not fair. We weren't prepared for that.
Yeah. So let's get this show on the road, okay?
Alrighty.
So thanks again. Thanks you guys for joining us.
Of course.
Before we get going, or no, why don't you guys tell us just more recently what's gone on with you guys?
Where do you want us to start?
Well, start like, where are you right now?
We're at home in quarantine.
In Sherwood
Okay.
Park. Yeah.
Okay, and why is that?
We got home last Friday from Vegas,
Yes.
and self-quarantined. Once they canceled the Vegas racing, we brought the race car home, truck and trailer, and really since we pulled into the driveway, we have not left this place. So
Is that right? So how many days has it been?
6 of 14.
6 of 14. So I got a little, there's a little video I want to show you guys that would, just when I saw this, it reminded me of you guys. So hopefully everybody can see this and hopefully you can hear it.
Because of coronavirus, you are going to be quarantined, but you have a choice. Do you A, quarantine with your wife and child, or B?
So tell us why did you guys come home? Or I mean, I'm guessing you guys have a home down south. You could easily stay there.
Yeah, just, kids wanted us home, so we came home. And really, with the uncertainty of the border at the time, we didn't know if we could get home if we chose to do it later. So we winterized the motorhome and just pounded north.
This was a really cool picture, I thought. Obviously, Kelly, you said you went up ahead of Trevor and got this picture, or pulling over, what is that river called? The
Colorado River.
Colorado River, yeah.
Well, I was driving ahead of Trevor in our pickup truck, and I thought, this is really cool in here, and it's not very often that you get to see like all the mountains. Usually it's a little bit hazy and you can't see very far, but I thought, holy cow, this is pretty cool. So I just messaged him. I say, hey, I'm up ahead.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful picture. That's a frame, or get a collage with race car stuff and have that with your rig. It would look really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, tell me why Eric and I were chatting lots as we're watching races unfold early in the year, like the Winter Nationals, the Phoenix Divisional race, the Tulsa race. What we thought was so interesting, you guys weren't on the list for any of those races.
Yeah, this winter actually last spring we decided we were going to do a big trip with our friends Carl and Grace over to Malaysia and Singapore. So we took off January 1st and we arrived back on January 24th. And during, actually last year we were informed we were going to be grandparents for the first time. So our oldest daughter, Ashley, was due February 19th, my birthday, but she ended up having Valentine's Day. So we weren't planning on going racing anywhere in February anyways, just to.
So tell us, what did we have?
We had a little boy. His name is Bennett. And
Bennett?
Yeah, we got
How
to
much
spend
did
a little
Bennett
bit of time
weigh?
with him. Yeah, we got to spend a little bit of time with him, and then we ended up taking off down south to our Mesa.
How heavy was your grandchild? This is your first grandchild, right?
Yeah, he's our first.
Yeah.
So he was 7 pounds 11 ounces.
Oh, that's a good size.
Yeah.
Right on. Good.
And
Congratulations, guys.
Yeah, thank you. He's perfect.
So that's why you were off.
Yeah.
Were you guys? were you guys plan on going to the Vegas national event where you entered in?
We were entered for that and gonna
Okay.
do the divisional.
And the division. Okay, cool. Yeah, because Eric and I were going to meet up with you at the divisional race.
Absolutely.
Okay. So the last video we had, we were talking about Kelly. I had heard you had done some licensing passes with Bayer School, and I kind of remember hearing you did some, didn't do them all. So back up a bit, going into last year, what transpired?
Yeah, well, we tried hooking up throughout the summer, and of course, summer was so busy with racing and stuff, it just didn't work out. So after the fall Vegas race, we went and put our stuff in our place in Mesa and headed over to Fontana to go do my licensing. This would be the second attempt. As the first one, it was way too windy, and we any of us couldn't get on the track. So I actually licensed with Dylan Hugh. His dad runs Alcohol Bunny Club. Brian Hugh, yeah, out of Oregon.
Oh, Howe. I thought it was Howe.
Howe.
It's Hugh, is it?
Yeah.
I thought it was Howe. I think it's
Howe,
Brian
yeah.
Howe. Yeah. And his son just started running a super comp car.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
licensed with him.
Oh, okay.
And with me being a little bit older and never being in a car before,
Right.
like, it's my legit first time down the racetrack ever.
Yeah, that's
And,
cool.
Yeah.
So tell me about your first pass. You just do
well, the
a
first
little
pass was
flip,
basically just a burnout
Okay.
and 60 foot. Did I
Okay.
even launch? Yeah, I think I launched the car. Yeah.
You launched
Yeah,
the car on the track?
he turned the horsepower way down.
Okay.
And I did have to do a couple extra passes because at the beginning, just subconsciously, like, I did my burnout's perfect, every backing up perfect, everything. It's just subconsciously when I let go of the button, my foot came off the gas.
Sure.
As well.
Yeah,
So.
Eric, do you remember the first time you let go of the button?
Yeah, I do. And it was a wild experience. I don't even remember getting to the 60-foot mark.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So
I remember it is, to try to describe to people what it's like to leave off of a tranny brake, especially in a super comp car, hits pretty hard. It's not like a street car where let's just giddy up and go. It is like somebody taking a sledgehammer to the back of your seat. It is a bang. There's no slipping. There's no nothing. If you tried to describe it to people, right?
Yeah.
It is just a whack, like somebody dropped a magnum of champagne on the floor, right? It is just wild. Yeah, so I remember my first time. I was 16 years old, like Howe's son. What's his son's name?
Dylan.
Dylan, yeah. That is pretty cool when you're young. You were young, right, Eric, when you made your first hit in a car?
yeah, I was pretty young, but I'd been around drag racing for so long, right? Driving was a totally different experience, right? But
Well, Kelly's
being
been around it a long time too.
Yeah.
Like, let's kid ourselves here.
But I'm more of a street racer. Like, I'll race anybody in our pickup truck, in my SUV.
Oh, you mean going to Walmart? You mean?
Yeah, like, I'll take you off the line, no problem. Off the line. But
whoa,
no, seriously.
challenging.
But yeah, being in a race car is a totally different feel. And but in the end, I ended up getting it, and
Good for you. Congratulations.
It was,
That's a big
my
accomplishment.
very, very last pass, he cranked it all the way up.
Good.
And man, could you ever feel the difference on the last?
So do you remember what kind of mile an hour you went on your last pass?
It was 168.
Good for you.
8.
That's faster than my car runs. Yeah, right on it. Good for you guys.
Yeah, she did well. She stopped it well. I mean, the other students were having to be showing how to stage the car and back up and get a lot of input from Tom, whereas Kelly just did it.
Yeah.
He said, if you don't see me in front of the car, that means you're doing it properly, and that's what she did.
Cool.
So pretty proud of her for doing a good job of doing it.
And what would you say about Tom Bayer and his racing school?
You know what? I love Tom Bayer. I've been around Tom Bayer. We've raced with Tom Bayer. We've raced against Tom Bayer. We've hung out with Tom Bayer all of our years racing in the States. And he is solid. Like, he is a solid guy. And Trevor hung out all weekend there. And, he didn't have any input or anything like that. He just sat and watched and listened how how the whole process went, and Trevor just
He knew how to talk to the student properly in a way
Sure.
that the student understood. And
Yeah.
he talked to Kelly differently than the other guys that were there. I was extremely impressed.
Yeah.
You can tell he's done it a lot and knows to the audience he's teaching, and it was excellent. It was a way better way of learning how to do it than the way I learned, for sure.
Yeah. He's got a very interesting model going on, right? He's got a racing school, but he took it to the next level where he's taking his entire program, which he has many cars he basically travels with. And I'm guessing, Kelly, you could have just jumped into one of his cars at the next divisional race. And that,
absolutely, yeah, and I get,
you know,
and
he
I get
doesn't
that.
just teach you, he trains you for long periods of time, and
Yeah.
he's been very successful from what I've seen at trainings. I think Eric, we've seen, I think somebody he's trained, I think a husband-wife combination won a
Larry
really
and
big
James
race.
Warden,
Yeah,
the
I
Warden,
mean,
the
that's
Wardens,
right.
yeah.
we can't, you know, we've only got like 10 round wins combined in the two Vegas spring flings. These people did it like that, you know, so, okay. Well, that's impressive. Congratulations again.
Thank
So,
you.
Yeah.
Eric and I were thinking of hitting the National Open in Edmonton this year and running Super Comp. What are the odds? What are the odds we're going to see in a Super Comp car?
You know, the odds probably 2 weeks ago would have been good, just for the fact I was gonna hop in a car for the Tucson or for the Phoenix Southwest Showdown.
Oh yeah, okay, an eighth mile race, yeah.
Yeah, I was possibly gonna hop in Tom's car for the spring fling. That way
Tom.
get some, yeah, in Tom's car, yeah, for the
Oh,
fling.
I see. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
for the
okay.
spring fling. So at least I'd
Yeah.
have some runs under my belt, like
Yeah, that would have been
full
nice.
quarter mile passes, but at least I'd be a lot more comfortable in it, as I've only done 8 runs in a dragster. So
Right.
at this point, I'm not prepared to be hopping into any dragster by any means. As
Maybe we'll put a stop on the blower motor for her.
Yeah, really, yeah, really. That would
That'd be
probably just be
exciting.
a 1/16 of an inch that baby's going to open up and put a really big pulley on it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So no, but honestly, tell me what are we going to see this year? Are we going to see you in a race car period this year?
Yeah, I think he will. I'm been offered a car from one of our friends to drive in box class. It's a door car, so I think I'd like to try a door car as opposed to hopping into. Well, there's no dragsters around unless I want to buy one, and we're not prepared to buy another car just to see if I even like it or not. So, but yeah, there's a possibility of me being in a door car for the box, for Cash's King, and for the Rockies for sure. So
that'd be cool. That'd be
yeah.
exciting.
So
before you guys jumped on our call, Eric and I were talking about another newcomer, Jeanette Coleman. You know, Jeff Coleman, the 23T that's behind us. He actually had a 68 Chevelle that he used to run, a stalker, that he was thinking of selling it, and she told him, no way, 60-year-old, she's gonna jump in that car and give it a whirl.
good for her.
Good for her. I mean,
That's
that's what the
awesome.
theme of today's show is all about, is people, not 16-year-old people
Right.
going to give us a whirl. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So people have actually asked me, now that I've done the course and the racing and the training and that kind of thing, and had the experience of being in a car, if I would ever be easier on Trevor now, and the answer is still no.
Oh man.
Oh God, she's a piece of work, Eric. She's a piece of work, this one.
Just because now I know what's involved, but no.
Yeah, no, like Eric and I said, all you're doing is letting go of the button. I mean, just let go. Come on.
Yeah.
How hard can it
It's
be?
your only job.
Trevor's pretty good at letting go of that button, I'd have to say.
Right.
He's one of the
Yeah.
best for sure. So Trevor,
Exactly.
let's move on. What's going on? What's going on with you?
You know, our plan with the dragster this year is much the same as last year. We're going to do as many races as we can up here, catch some Div 6 divisionals, and we are going to go to Brainerd this year. We're going to go do the divisional in Brainerd and the national. That's
Hit
on our list.
Divisional first, and then hit the national. Eric and I were talking about that a couple of years ago, doing that.
There's
It
some other
sounds like
Canadians
a lot of fun.
Yeah, there's other Canadians I think are gonna go. We're gonna skip going to Seattle this year because of that.
Okay.
And yeah, it sounds like that's just a fun race.
Maybe we
It's a
should
great
all do
track
that
and
and
a fun race.
get our golf carts like all set right up so that we could
Damn
do
right.
the zoo, right?
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely. Let's
That'd
do
be
it.
a fun place. That'd be a fun place to go. Just the zoo alone. But even I think the whole racing facility there is really cool. From the research I did when we were thinking of going there, it was, they got really good pitting there. It's just real picturesque in that track. Mike Popo went there and he talked really highly of it.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's a
from what we
mellow
heard,
track.
they build bars for the racers.
Yeah.
They're just temporary bars. You just pull in with your golf cart, have a few sarsaparillas, and then go on to the next one.
Yeah. Anybody you think we should pull in on the show? Like, we're having content. Not that you guys weren't solid content, but we need more content.
Hey, off
Okay,
topic here for a second. What do you think? Did you see that thing that Kyle Seipel's doing with the pros and the Joes?
Yeah.
We should do something like that.
Yeah, I don't really know what I know they're doing but how are they doing it?
Well, each driver has to submit their 5 hits.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be for something. We would do it a little differently, but because I participated recently in one of those things, and I was done in second round, and and I had killer lights. I thought anyway. You get a double O something, and you still can't get past that round. But we are going to. I think we would have to do the results on FaceTime or something because everything's got to be on the up and up.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure, right?
For sure.
So maybe we should see how Kyle's doing his, and maybe we could do a Edmonton version or something.
Yeah, I think we could do something like that. We would just have to do a little call like this, and you point your iPad or your computer on the practice tree, right?
Yeah.
And that'd be fine. Okay, anything else, guys, before we end?
No, nice being on this stellar show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys made it home. That's pretty cool.
Nice seeing you guys.
Yeah.
And thanks for coming on. And we look forward to watching Kelly this year. It's both Jeanette, Kelly, and anybody else who's new to drag racing who could be hitting the tree for the first time this year. It would be great to interview them, but it's always really neat to have somebody new step into drag racing and we all stand on the starting line or in the stands and watch them. And I think it is completely different with Jeanette and with Kelly. When you've been at a racetrack, which was my life when I was 16 years old and got in a race car, I'd been at a racetrack since I was 4 years old. So it's completely different program than dropping somebody in who's never been at a racetrack. It is completely different. And so it'll be cool to watch for sure. Well, thanks guys.
Take care.
Thanks for joining us.
Everyone.
Okay,
Thanks.
Stay
bye.
safe. Stay healthy.
Let's cut. Good job, work, guys.